decided to go through my last 4 years as a computer science student because I finished college like a week ago, so it's probably the best time to go through all 4 years, everything I covered, and probably give you a better idea of what actually goes on in a computer science degree. Just for reference, I went to college in Dublin in Ireland, and it probably operates slightly different in different countries. For me, each year was comprised of 2 12-week semesters, and then in each semester we took 6 modules. If you hear me say module, it probably refers to a class. If you're in a different country, in America you probably call it a class, I call it a module, but when I reference a module, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm going to start a screen record on my laptop, which I have here, and then I will go through all the modules I studied, talk you through them, what they covered, how I did, and yeah, we'll build up until basically last week where I finished. So let's go. Okay, so here I am in the college portal. I've just scrolled down a little bit because there's some personal information at the top. But yeah, we'll scroll through here. We can see program summary. So I did 4 years undergrad in the computer science stream. So I started my final year on the 9th of September last year. It is currently the 16th of May, and I think I finished on the 7th of May, so I probably finished about 9 days ago. And here's the overall results summary. So we can see my GPA here, which steadily kind of improved from first. Actually, it got worse in second year, and then it got much better in third year. This says incomplete because I haven't got my results for my second semester yet, so this is the GPA from my first semester of final year. Also, not sure what way this might work in other countries, but for me in Ireland, my degree grade is calculated based on my third and fourth year. 30% of my third year grade and 70% of my final year grade. So final year is by far the most important, third year is a bit more important, and that's probably why I didn't put as much focus into things in first and second year, as you can see. Now, if we go down here, we see module details, and we'll start at stage 1 and we'll go through everything that I studied. So we studied matrix algebra, computer science and practice, computer programming 1, formal foundations, introduction to computer architecture, and algorithmic problem solving. All the maths modules I did in college, I was not very good at. If you're wondering whether you have to be good at maths to study computer science, you really don't. I scraped by in most of them. I've still managed to get a job as a software engineer starting soon. You may need good math skills for some elements, but you can definitely become a software engineer, a cybersecurity analyst, something like that, without needing a whole lot of math skills. So yeah, matrix algebra, I don't remember it that well, and obviously I wasn't too good at it. Computer science and practice was like an introduction where we had speakers come in every week. So we had people come in who did language processing or maybe network security, and they spoke to us every week and then explained kind of different areas we could go into in computer science, which kind of was good. When you're in your first week of computer science, your first year of computer science, you don't really know what you can do. Overall, that was kind of a boring module. It wasn't hard. You just had to listen to speakers, and then the exam at the end of the year was like a few questions about stuff they talked about, so it wasn't too bad. Computer programming 1, that was in C. So the first thing we studied in university was C, a relatively hard language, I guess, in comparison, especially when you're just getting started. But looking back on it now, it was great to start with C, because now when you work with languages like Java or Python that do so much work for you, it's good to know what's actually happening behind the scenes with memory management and stuff like that. Formal foundations was a logic module, so that was a focus on predicate logic. Decent enough module, wasn't too exciting, but once again does give you a good foundation moving forward. Introduction to computer architecture, if I remember correctly, that module was more of a hardware focused thing. We were looking more deep down at memory and processing, how processors work, how the memory works, basic functionality within the computer and how that operates. Got a C+ in that. Algorithmic problem solving, we were basically given like riddles and we had to solve them with like predicate logic and stuff like that. It was weird, but good. Now, semester 2, you will see here, I actually have 2 elective modules. So this is something else that might only be specific to my university or Ireland. During each year of the degree, we had 10 core modules and 2 elective modules. So the core modules meant everybody doing the degree had to do those modules, and then outside of that we could pick 2 elective modules. For me specifically, in my first and second year, those elective modules didn't have to be computer science based, so I could pick things outside of the computer science stream like economics, art, stuff like that. And then in third and fourth year, those elective modules did have to be computer science based. So the first elective I took in first year was web design and analytics. This was actually a business module rather than a computer science module. So this web design and analytics only used WordPress and Google Analytics, and it was really quite easy. So we got a C+ in that. We had a group project, stuff like that. Then I'd had 2 maths modules in semester 2. We had foundations of mathematics Mathematics for Computer Science 1 and Foundation of Mathematics for Computer Science 2. I can't remember these ones too well either. Clearly I found the second one a bit easier. I got a B in that and I got a C- in the other. As I said, maths isn't my strong point. You don't need to be fantastic in maths to progress in computer science, but obviously it might depend on your course as well. If you're studying in a university that has a very maths focused curriculum, you might want to consider that before you decide to study computer science. But for me, once I got through kind of first year, all the mathsy stuff was kind of done. Maybe second year there was a little bit more, but it was fine after that. And then here is a strange elective tab. It's called Food, Diet and Health. As I said, we didn't have to do electives within the bounds of computer science, so I picked this one because it was all online. It was notoriously a very easy module. I don't think there was a final exam, so I think yeah, that just was like online quizzes, online lectures, quite easy. Computer programming 2, so this was with C again. I think we were getting a bit more into like sorting and arrays and stuff like that by the time we got to the second semester. The first semester was more like really the basics, like how variables work, discovering classes and stuff like that. And then in semester 2, if I remember correctly, we had to make a program to like sort and shuffle songs and music. Yeah, we got a C+ in that. And then actually no, software engineering project 1. So this one here is actually the one where we made the C program that sorts and shuffles music songs. You can make playlists and stuff like that. So I got a B- in that, wasn't too bad. You'll probably see as I go through these years, when it comes to software engineering projects and like software modules, that's probably where my best grades are. The maths modules, anything kind of abstract, I don't do as well in. Okay, semester 1, practical statistics. Once again, this was an elective module, and once again I picked it because it was all online and it was meant to be easy. It was very easy. We just had to turn up to like an online lab once a week and do some like basic problems, and I'm getting an A- in that. Introduction to Java. That was just moving on from C to Java and learning some more object-oriented principles. Really diving deep into classes, constructors, inheritance, polymorphism, stuff like that, if I remember correctly. Discrete mathematics for computer science. This is by far the worst module I did, not as a module, but the worst result I received in any module. I actually got 19.5% on the final exam, and I was only saved by the fact I had done decently well in the continuous assessment up until that point. I actually have a friend, Kevin, if you're watching, I know he wrote like 7 or 8 A4 pages in this discrete maths exam and got 0. So that was a really tough exam. Really didn't like the module. Got a D- in that. Database and information systems. So this is kind of our first deep dive into SQL databases, and we were working with MySQL Workbench, and we were kind of learning about SQL and schemas and queries and stuff like that. It was quite easy once again. Digital systems. I remember being really shocked with this result of a D+. I thought I did well in this module, clearly not. This was exploring circuits, and we were like building 8-bit adders and stuff like that. It was all online on a program called Logisim, where you could build circuits and adders and stuff like that. So we didn't actually physically build circuits. It was more of a theory-based thing, but yeah, obviously didn't go as well as I thought it did. Data structures and algorithms. If you are considering studying computer science, pay more attention in the data structures and algorithms classes, because I did not, and I now regret it, because when you actually start interviewing for jobs, especially at top companies like Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, any place like that, they're going to give you hard questions, and the majority of the time they're going to involve data structures of some kind as well as algorithms of some kind, usually a mix of both. So I saw this firsthand when I was interviewing at Microsoft. 2 of the questions had really kind of in-depth data structure problems, and then 2 of the other ones are more algorithm based. If you were planning on studying computer science, or you are studying computer science, definitely just get a head start on the data structures and algorithms modules. I ended up having to relearn it all myself later on, probably in year 3 and year 4, before I started doing interviews. If you've already completed your data structures and algorithms modules, I would recommend cracking the coding interview book as a really good refresher on the data structures and algorithms, and also goes like in depth on types of questions that are asked. I found it very helpful. So yeah, linear algebra 2 then. Obviously maths module didn't go well, got a D+. One thing I will say is I didn't fail any modules at all through my whole degree, which I'm quite proud of, even though I shouldn't be. Next is another elective, which was digital business and social media strategy. Once again, a business module. I actually really enjoyed this one. It was like a good break from all the computer science stuff, and it was focusing on kind of online marketing, brands, how they're being built. It probably ties in a bit with what I'm trying to do now. So I really enjoyed that module. It was very fun. Intro to functional programming. This was an absolute nightmare. At the time, I had absolutely no idea what was going on. I obviously did not perform too well. I got a D+ in that. If I remember correctly, we were using Lisp. It was Lisp and a lot of recursion, and it was getting very confusing. I didn't like that module at all. So Intro to Operating Systems was kind of building on the Introduction to Computer Architecture from last year. I remember it being the most boring module ever. I didn't really pay attention, and I got a D+, which makes sense. Now, Software Engineering Project 2, obviously got a better grade than that because it's actually writing code, and that's what I'm good at. This project was making a backgammon game. So if you've ever played backgammon, we have to make that with a GUI in Java in groups of 3. Yeah, we ended up getting a decent result on that, so not so bad. And then data structures and algorithms 2, I got a C on that. So yeah, my number one advice, if you're studying computer science or you plan on studying computer science and you want to be a software engineer mainly, focus on the data structures and algorithms modules. They'll be very helpful when you get to interviews. So already you can see these grades are quite a bit better than my last 2 years. Down here you'll see the industry internships. So the way it worked for me in third year was we did a full first semester and then we did half a second semester. Our second semester was 6 weeks long and we covered 3 modules instead of 12 weeks long with 6 modules. And once that 6 weeks was up, we actually started an industry internship. I joined SAP, where I'd done an internship the year before, and I joined a software development team there for an internship. So that's why this one is quite a bit shorter than the others. Start from the top. So programming for big data, that was good. I didn't really enjoy it, but I understood it. It was a lot about MapReduce, working with Linux systems, breaking down problems into smaller ones so they can be solved. It's all very applicable to actual problems that you'll see in companies on a day-to-day basis. Web development. As much as it's a web development module, this is actually mainly done with Java and Spring. So we use Spring to make a backend and very simple front end. Also our first introduction to Docker, I believe. We had to build a library system with a MySQL database, a Spring backend, and then we had to containerize it all with Docker. And it was actually a pretty fun project. Me and 2 of my friends working that, we got an A-. So that was good. Graph algorithms, this was kind of like a mathsy thing again, a bit too abstract for me. And then in the first semester of stage 3, we did Foundations of Computing, Introduction to Artificial Intelligence, Network and Internet Systems, Object-Oriented Programming, Computer Systems, and then my elective here was Introduction to Project Management and Leadership. Picked that elective because it was known to be easy, got an A. Foundations of Computing, that was kind of going through Turing machines, finite state automata. It was actually a really enjoyable module and I'm doing quite well on that, got an A-. Introduction to Artificial Intelligence, that was actually another elective. I learned quite a lot, but once again I wasn't fantastic at it. If I want to get into anything AI based, that gave me a good foundation, so that's not the worst. Network and Internet Systems was a pretty fun module. I'd be lying if I said I remembered most of it. A lot of it has completely left my brain since. Object-Oriented Programming, this module was a roller coaster. So this module was actually done in Ruby, which was strange. It was really diving deep on the object-oriented principles. The module itself wasn't too bad, the assignments weren't too bad, but the final exam was crazy tough. People literally had tears in their eyes leaving the exam. I remember like a day after the lecturer emailed us saying, if you found that exam hard, you're probably not good at programming. So yeah, not the best way to end it. I was convinced I was getting like a D, ended up getting a B-, so not the worst. Computer systems. This module was assembly machine language. Good at the time, builds a good foundation. Not sure if I'll be using it too frequently in the future. You'll see some of the grades here are not available because I literally just finished those modules. We do have the grades for semester 1, and you'll see option here a lot instead of core modules. In the final year, we can pick from a lot of different modules, but they are all computer science based. They aren't really electives, but you can just tailor your year to the stuff you like. So we'll start from the top. Distributed systems. This was all Java, and we were looking at all different types of distributed systems, moving from old ways like RMI up to REST and stuff that's commonly used today. Really enjoyed the module, it was very good. Multi-agent systems, horrible module, really disliked it, got a good grade. It was just one of those modules that was taught in such a way that it was borderline impossible to stay awake. I'd also like to add that all of my final year happened during COVID times, so this was all from home and you were literally just sitting at a desk with your laptop listening to a guy mumble about multi-agent systems. Ended up getting an A-, so not the worst. Cloud computing was a good module. We were diving into AWS, cloud providers, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, everything like that. And really enjoyed the module, learned a lot, got to grips with AWS during that module. Final year project foundations, this is like the start of your thesis. Got our projects and we had to plan it and do a bit of background research and then submit, I think it was like 15 pages. So I did that, got an A-. Data mining, this was kind of similar to cloud computing. It was taught by the same person, but was more data focused. Don't remember a whole lot from it if I'm honest, which is worrying because it was less than 6 months ago. And then machine learning, that was a good module. We had an option of doing it through Python, or I think it's called Weka, which is a good program for kind of showing you how machine learning works without actually writing a lot of code yourself. I did it all through Weka. Second semester up here in spring, we have spatial information systems, similar to multi-agent systems in that it was very dry and hard to consume the content. 70% of the grade was like an assignment, which you could do at home, so it wasn't the worst. Ethical computer hacking was a very fun module. We used Security Shepherd, which is a utility for teaching yourself hacking techniques. If you're interested, I would recommend Security Shepherd. I learned a lot using it, and it covers all different types of hacks. Final year project design and implementation, so you can see this is worth double the credits. This is worth 10 credits, and my final year foundations were 5 credits. So overall, for the 60 credit stage or year, the final year project is worth 25% of that, so it's worth 15 out of the 60 credits. That was me building an iOS app that focused on helping users reduce their carbon footprint through the use of gamification. It wasn't too exciting, but basically you're implementing points, leaderboards and stuff into a mobile app that encourages people and rewards them for completing actions that reduce their carbon footprint. Information visualization, heard that was kind of an easy module. It was, except I messed up one of the quizzes, so I might get an A. But that was focused on like charts, visualizations, and then some utilities you can use to actually make visualizations on computer. And then contemporary software development, really enjoyed that module, more than I thought I would. It was mainly focused on looking at common problems developers make and how you can get around them. It's probably things me and you do on a daily basis as programmers, and when you actually think about it and someone shows you why it's a bad idea, you learn a lot and you improve a lot. So I really value that module. Even if I don't get a good grade in it, it definitely made me a better programmer. So as you can see from the 4 stages of my degree, we didn't really go too in depth on anything except maybe programming. We started programming modules in first year and they continued until the final year. Everything else was kind of an introduction and foundation based stuff. I would say that is probably common throughout computer science courses. A computer science course will give you a lot of skills and foundations, and it will teach you how to learn a lot by yourself. If you know exactly what you want to do, for example, you want to work in cybersecurity, or you want to work in networking, or you want to work in software development, and you're dead set on working one of those things, I don't think you need a computer science degree. For me, finishing school, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, but I was sure I was interested in computers and stuff like that. So I decided to study computer science, and it gave me a great foundation in a lot of things, and I eventually found that I love programming, writing software, writing code. But yeah, that's the end of the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. This video was requested by some people who follow me on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go follow me there. I put up polls sometimes on my stories, which you can contribute and actually get me to make the videos you want to see. Thanks for watching. Please like the video for the algorithm. Drop any comments down below, also helps the algorithm. And if you want to see more videos from me, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.